Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Indie Author Showcase. For once, I, Alexander Morgan, am taking the lead alongside my father.
I'm Chad Robert Morgan.
And to why I'm taking center stage today, recently I have felt in kind of a wizarding mood. You know what I mean?
I'm going to regret this, aren't I?
Yeah, immediately.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And recently, I just can't stop wizarding. I just can't stop casting my spells in my wizard tower. I just can't stop performing my alchemy, you know what I mean? So, that got me motivated. And for this, I created a little teensy weensy slideshow. He has never seen this before. I kept this hidden very well. So I would like to point out my slideshow. If you don't have audio, I'm sorry. Why Sci-Fi is actually just wizardry by Alex, myself, and an apprentice. The apprentice shall not be named, for he wanted to keep his identity secret. Seem a little
Scared out of my wits? Yes, I'm wondering what you're doing to my podcast, but that's all right.
I'm making it better with the power of my wizardry. Let's continue. So as you can see, this is a very beautifully decorated slideshow, correct?
I am regretting this already.
Oh, you shouldn't. With that being said, let us continue. Why make the funny wizard slides? Number 1, the wizard disrespect is crazy. You wanna know what I mean by this? I walked out the streets in my robes, spellbook in hand.
You don't have any robes?
And you wanna know what happens? I'm in my level 9 robes, spellbook in one hand, magic potion in the other. And no one bats an eye. I've never been more shell-shocked in my life. People have been doubting wizards for far too long, okay? Us wizards, we've been disrespected, dishonored. And so I must reclaim the name for us wizards.
Okay, Harry Potter.
Don't mention that around me. Don't bring up Harry Potter.
Okay, Gandalf.
Better.
Let's continue to ruin my podcast. Come
Number
on.
2. Sci-Fi is too often not properly accredited to wizards. What I mean by that, we'll get into this. All sci-fi, when you think about it, is just wizards in space. We will get into this more later. But for now, I will leave it at that. Number 3. It's really funny. That's number 3. And number 4, at the end, I will spread the word of true wizardry and show you where you too can learn how to be a mage. Now, ponder this. What is the difference between Han Solo and a cool, awesome wizard? What is the difference?
Han Solo couldn't do magic.
What answer did you come up with?
Han Solo couldn't do magic.
The answer to the question is absolutely nothing.
Did you ever watch Star Wars?
Is shooting a space gun and shooting a laser not magic?
I think you mixed up Han Solo with Luke
When
Skywalker.
shooting a laser pistol, is that not magic?
No, it's not magic.
Really? What's the difference between that? Ain't no magic missile.
Because one is a piece of technology that you can actually
Technology powered by what?
by an energy source. It's science. I mean, it's fictional science, but it's
Fictional
still
science, so I know what I call that? Magic. What is this? Now, why is this? Most people say that sci-fi comes from real-world science. That is wrong. Many different ideas of sci-fi can actually be originated from wizard novels. Hear me out on this one. Let's look at the similarities. The Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, I can't tell the two apart, really. They're identical.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is a photo taken from the famous movie The Hunger Games. This is a character named Haymitch. He is an alcoholic, and noticeably, in many stories, spices, alcohol, drugs are often coded around.
I'm starting to wonder if you're on drugs.
No. Now, what is like this in magic, you might ask? Alchemy! Potions!
And you wonder why I keep saying I'm trying to sabotage the podcast.
No. Alchemy and potions. They give you power. Just...
Alcohol doesn't give you power. It gives you delusions.
No, alcohol is like a poison potion. That's that green one at the bottom. Continuing. Is there any difference between these two images?
Yes.
Is there really?
Yeah, a whopping big one.
Which one? What is it?
One's got a gun, the other one's got a magic stick.
But what is the difference between the magic stick and the gun? They both shoot out projectiles, do they not?
One shoots blaster bolts, the other one shoots magic.
They still shoot. What are blaster bolts, but not just magic missiles? How do you know that magic missiles are not just energy bolts?
Oh, Lord.
How do you know that? Look at that face. Look at that face. The face of a defeated man. One who knows he has lost the battle.
One that knows my podcast is going down the damn drain. That's what it is.
What you truly mean is that it is being improved. What does that have to do with the authors, you may ask?
Yes, I really would. I am really asking, what does this have shit all to do with indie authors?
I am taking a stand for the indie wizards, father.
There's indie wizards?
Yes. Everyone knows Gandalf the Grey, Dumbledore the Dungus. Everyone knows them. You want to know who really needs to be known?
The ones that didn't go to Hogwarts and were homeschooled? These are the wizards we're talking
What
about?
about the wizards who went to the Lucaria Manor Academy? I did not get that name correct.
Who went and he
played
where now?
right now, don't worry.
Who went and where now?
What about the lower wizards? The wizards who rise up.
And rise up from where?
The ground. The wizards who came
From your imagination?
Single-celled organism. It blossomed to the beautiful people you see walking the streets. Think about that. What about the little guy? Think of the little guy. I thought the whole point of this podcast was to boost up the little guy. There you are.
Yes.
Throwing indie wizards down the drain.
Real little guys, not imaginary friends that you're seeing from your delusional states.
You are putting local wizards down the drain. I hope you know this. This is your fault. When you stomp the life out of an indie wizard.
What indie wizards? There are no such thing as wizards in real life.
When you stomp out the lives of multiple indie wizards.
Have you been LARPing again?
I hope that you get a sick, twisted sense of fascination through that. Think of the multiple wizards you have slaughtered, Father.
What? I'm not killing any wizards.
What are you doing right now? You are slaughtering indie wizards.
I'm slaughtering wizards. I'm
You are
sitting on my ass.
You are taking the food from out of their mouths. You're taking the bread from out of their mouths, snatched, right in front of them. You're watching the wizard starve.
There's nobody here but us and this damn dog. I ain't watching nobody starve.
You are taking their mana crystals. You are taking it from them, and you are ripping it out of their bodies. And then you go and you consume them. Let me go mana potion myself.
Are we done with this bit? Please tell me we're done with this bit.
Not yet.
Oh, shit.
Is there any differences? No. Now let's talk seriously. What happens if you swap the most famous sci-fi novel, Star Wars, my favorite sci-fi novel,
What's your point?
and the most famous wizard novel? What happens if you swap features
If
from
you're
either of
trying
them?
to say they both go on the same hero's journey and they both have similar plot points, you can deconstruct damn near any story.
Well, except for the fact that Star Wars is 100 times better than an overrated piece of filth that has brought down the reputations of wizards single-handedly.
You liked Harry Potter when you were a kid.
Nothing. When I was a dumb 5-year-old, possibly.
I liked Harry Potter until somebody ruined the fourth book for me.
Then you realize that it sucks.
Well, somebody pointed out a major plot hole in the fourth book, and ever since then I was like,
Because it's Harry Potter.
there is a major plot hole in the fourth book that once it was pointed out,
We are nearing the end of my slideshow, Father.
thank God.
Stay with us.
Thank God.
Hold on, Father.
I'm trying to, but this dog is not making it easy.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay.
Well, you can learn your very own wizardry. Horicon, 14th through 15th of September. Creep IE, 24th to the 22nd, also on September. And Son of Monster Palooza, the 12th and 13th of October. That is the end of my slideshow. Any questions to present before the Ponderer?
Yes, why the hell did you want to do this again?
God, it's funny. I'd also like to mention that all of the images, or stock images, they're all just stock images I just kind of took. As you can see, I had to look up a very precise inquiry. But yeah,
And we have a young puppy who's being very naughty right now.
he's just a little guy.
Oh, you're picking the very wrong time to be playful right now.
He's just a little silly.
Very wrong time to be playful.
But yeah, that's my Was there any questions before the Ponderer?
Are there going to be any more of these TED Talks?
I mean, hopefully.
Oh, good Lord.
In a perfect world, yeah.
You want to face the camera?
What a...
Okay.
True Ponderers, no!
Can we get this podcast back on track now? So speaking of these horror conventions...
Are you sure you don't have any questions for the Ponderer?
Oh, I definitely have no questions. Other than why the hell did we do this? But that's all right. Let's just move on.
Because it was funny, Father!
Moving on.
You don't understand, Father. It was funny.
Moving on.
When I come
Moving forward.
promoting my alchemy,
Through. Passing that. Getting past that.
I'm promoting my alchemy, I'm casting my spells.
Moving forward. Okay.
Fine. It seems you're not a true believer of true wizardry.
And today's broadcast is brought to you by a psychotic break. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm having a nervous breakdown, and so am I.
You know, a couple of days ago,
Oh, Lord. Okay.
I was in the dungeon.
Okay. Nope. Back. Okay. That was enough of that. Moving on. Moving on.
Whatever you
Moving
say.
on. Moving on.
Whatever you say.
So speaking of these conventions we got going on, okay? So conventions are driven by the celebrities, right?
Okay,
So the conventions get big name celebrities to show up. People come to see the celebrities. Then after they get their autograph and their picture taken with the celebrities, they come to see the vendors, and that's when they meet us, right? Because they're definitely not going to come down there to meet us because they don't know who the hell we are, right? They come to meet big celebrity. After celebrity, they come meet us, and then hopefully they get to meet enough. We meet enough of them, and then we start becoming somewhat of a celebrity. That kind of thing. So, who are the big celebrities that we got on some of these conventions?
I do not have my orb with me to ponder on. What to inform me?
So at HorrorCon,
Yes.
it was announced that we are having Michael Biehn.
From all the famous movies like Terminator, Aliens with an S, and other ones, I'm sure.
So I heard this somewhere that there was a story about so James Cameron was pitching Aliens, right?
Right.
He says he wanted to do a sequel to Alien, right?
And had an S on it.
Well, they sit there and says, well, Alien was already like 10 years ago, and you want to do a sequel to that. It's a 10-year-old movie. It was like, what would be the point of doing a sequel to a 10-year-old movie? And so he had Alien written on like a whiteboard, right? So then he puts an S at the end, and they're like, okay. And then he turns the S into a $sign, and they're like, oh, and then they were on board, right? So, but as a kid in the 80s, right, it seemed like Michael Biehn was in every single kick-ass sci-fi movie, right? He was in Aliens. He was in Terminator. He was in The Abyss. It seemed like every kick, especially if it was James Cameron, there was every single kick-ass summer blockbuster, he was in it. So I am really excited that HorrorCon's going to have Michael Biehn in it.
Right.
Moving on to Creep IE, we got a couple of really big celebrities going on that. So they are going to have a bit of a cast reunion. They got most of the cast. It's a small little indie film from the 80s. You might have heard of E.T.
Never heard of it.
A small little indie project. Not too many people have heard of it. One of the actors there is a guy by the name of Henry Thomas.
Oh.
So recently he's gotten a couple of major roles. He in the movie Doctor Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining. He was Jack Torrance, which is the role that was very famously played by Jack Nicholson in the original movie. So in Doctor Sleep, he had to do his best Jack Nicholson impersonation. He was also the father in Netflix's Haunting of Hill House, amongst other roles. So that's Henry Thomas. And he was also the little boy from E.T. The cast of Terrifier 3 is going to be there. In fact, I believe the actor that plays Art the Clown will be there in full costume.
Wowzers.
But I'll tell you, the one celebrity that's scheduled to be there that I am most excited, that I really hope I get a chance to meet,
No.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams?
Lando Calrissian himself is supposed to be at Creep IE this year.
Lando Calrissian?
Lando Calrissian.
The guy with the wizards?
No, he is not the wizard.
But he is with the wizards.
Well, I guess technically he's with the space wizards, yes, because he does hang out with the Jedi. So he's down with the Jedi, so I guess technically he's with the space wizards. See, that's what I'm saying. You're doing the whole thing with Han Solo. I was like, your argument would have been much stronger if you picked Luke Skywalker. That's all I'm saying.
Who?
Luke Skywalker, the space wizard.
Luke who Walker?
Oh, Lord. Anyway, moving on. And so guess who is going to be at Son of Monsterpalooza?
Inform me. Because I have no orb to ponder to right now.
Bruce Campbell.
Oh.
Star of Evil Dead and the show Ash vs. Evil Dead. He was also recently in the movie Black Friday. He was also on the TV show Burn Notice. Lots of stuff. had recently had a cameo in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. It's really cool because the last year we had at Son of Monsterpalooza the Raimi brothers.
Both of them.
Yeah, and Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are friends. In fact, that's how they both got started because Sam Raimi did Evil Dead, which of course starred Bruce Campbell, and that kind of put both of them on the map, and they built their careers kind of up together that way. And so Bruce Campbell has basically given more or less cameo in a lot of. That's why Bruce Campbell cameoed in a lot of the Spider-Man movies. He cameoed in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness because Sam Raimi was directing, because of buds.
The more you know.
So really excited. Hope to get a chance to meet Bruce Campbell at Son of Monsterpalooza. So quick recap. We got HorrorCon with Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn.
We have Creep IE with the cast of Terrifier.
Cast of Terrifier.
Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas.
And Billy D. motherfucking Williams.
Billy D. Williams.
And then at Son of Monsterpalooza, we are going to have Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Groovy.
I don't know how to say that, but I can do it in a wizard voice.
So, now that you've killed half the podcast with your TED Talk.
I am in my tower. Straight up casting it. And by it, let's just say, my spells.
If we're done with this, let's go on to this week's book review.
Okay. Let me
Pardon me while I whip this out.
Yeah, let me whip it out real quick.
You have never seen Blazing Saddles, have you?
Let me just whip it out, flip it out.
You have never seen Blazing Saddles.
No, but I do know when
I have failed you as a father.
I know, I do know when people
Blazing
usually
Saddles.
say whip it out, they're usually talking about a certain.
I have got to show you Blazing Saddles.
Do they whip it out?
There's a part where
He whips it out?
there's a part of the movie, the running gag is, and it's kind of a racist joke, but they're trying to destroy this town. So the evil governor sends them a black sheriff, and of course everybody's all upset because
They're racist.
they're racist.
Gasp.
And so everybody's about ready to welcome the new sheriff, and he shows up, and all of a sudden they're all aghast because here comes this black guy, and they all get deathly quiet because he walks up there, and he's about ready to do his thank you speech for them to welcome him. And so he reaches down to his pocket to pull out his speech. He says, "Pardon me while I whip this out." And everybody's like, because he thinks he's going to, anyway. But of course, over the course of the movie, he wins over the town. Everybody gets over their racism, and they realize that the sheriff is a really awesome guy. And in the end, he saves the town, and everybody begs him to stay, and he rides off into the sunset like the hero he is. So it's a really cool movie. It's really funny.
Now let me introduce the latest book onto our list, our magical little list, our magical list. Wizardry. Now, the book is The Forever Ship. Only Omega can free humanity. When the All-New came, they took off in a single night. Humanity never stood a chance. Now, they force us to crew their ships and fight their wars for them. They hold Earth hostage, and if we refuse to leave their building, they lay waste to our precious Blue Mobile, slaughtering the billions who live there. But when Captain Bill Henderson is sent to claim a small moon for his masters, he finds something they never accounted for. An ancient warship. A behemoth abandoned for millennia by a species that reached its peak at the dawn of the universe. Could this ship of ages be exactly what humanity needs to cast off the shackles of their oppressors? Find out in Book 1 of Starship Omega, an engrossing new military sci-fi saga from the best-selling authors Scott Bartlett and Joshua James. Now, did you enjoy this book, Faza?
I did. It wasn't bad. I liked it. Um, this was another military sci-fi. It was when we did Jeff Cheney. You were complaining that one was very dry. This one was not dry. Um, I mean, Jeff Cheney's was done all through like diary entries and stuff like that. So that was meant to be very static and like written as reports and everything like that. So this was actually written as a fictional book. Um, I thought it was kind of interesting because we started out as humanity as an enslaved species for a couple generations. So that was kind of a hard pill to swallow at the beginning of the book, right? That humanity is already like beaten down, right? Um, and towards the end of the book, I was starting to get some Battlestar Galactica vibes. You know what I mean? But overall, I dug it. It was good. I mean, I wasn't like best book I ever read, but it was a good, solid book. I did enjoy it. What did you think?
I thought it was good, yeah. I liked the wizardry in it.
Okay, seriously, what did you like in the book?
I liked the what's it like the story. I thought the story was pretty good. The way like you know the fact that it's like they begin the story, they're all like really kind of like going through it because they're enslaved, and how hope like kind of like slowly arises throughout the story. I thought that was pretty cool.
Um, yeah, because there's that whole like juggling the politics of it because the whole thing of it is that like Bill Henderson is basically trying to keep his crew together and trying to keep them alive. Because if they piss off their keeper, their overseer, he can just basically like punch a button and they're all like, just take them all out. They all have this little thing in their chest, um, that would just basically explode and kill them all. And all the dude has to do is punch it up into a computer. And basically the one thing that's keeping the dude from wiping out the whole crew is the amount of paperwork the dude has to fill out.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, like I think there was one part where there was a Marine that was jettisoned in space, and so they had to they wanted to go get the guy. I think it was a girl actually. They wanted to go get the crew member because they wanted to save the person's life. But they knew that if in the middle of the battle they went to go get the person, they would have potentially been relieved of duty or worst, just killed on the spot for risking damage to the ship and everything like that because the people were considered disposable. So they're like, they know everything they're saying is being recorded and it's going to be reviewed later. And they're like, oh, we got a person lost. And I'm like, yeah, that's really expensive equipment out there. It would really benefit our overlords if we salvage that very expensive piece of equipment that person happens to be in, and make a viable excuse so they can go rescue the person, kind of thing. So, and how they just get so browbeaten, and then finally there's this chance of hope that they might be able to get out from underneath this oppression. So, um, and it does I mean it's dark, but there's also that flower of hope, and this is the beginning of a series. So it is ending. I don't want to say to be continued. I mean, it does have a beginning, middle, end. It's not one of these books where it just. Some people, when they write these series, they just write and then they stop, right? It's just to be continued, and you just have to keep going. I don't like that when people write that way. This is not like that. It does have a beginning, a middle, and end. It does have a conclusion. Does definitely leave it open for the next adventure. More is coming. It does set up for the next book, but it does have a beginning, middle, and end, and it does have a satisfying conclusion at the end. So overall, I say it was a good, solid book. I enjoyed it, and yeah, I say it was good.
And same.
So yeah, 2 thumbs up for us, I guess.
Yep.
All right. So I guess that wraps up this podcast for this week. Now that you've completely derailed it with your TED Talk.
You mean I have made it better with my wizardry, my incantations?
Okay, so how can people help out and support us with the podcast or support us as indie authors?
Come to our cons to support an indie wizard such as myself. And then you can also support the indie author right next to me. I guess he's there too.
Yeah, the person who's paying for all these booths. Yes, you can come to any of the conventions. We have, as we mentioned before, we have HorrorCon coming up in September, followed by Creep IE. We also have Cinematopalooza in October. You can also buy any of our books. They're available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible. You can also find our books as well as any of our merchandise on our website at shopspectralink.com. And now we have a Patreon.
Wahoo!
You can sign on to the Patreon and support the podcast.
And give me money so I can buy more ingredients for my alchemy.
So the Patreon is patreon.podbean.com/indie author showcase.
That's indie author showcase.
Yes. So again, that's patreon.podbean.com/indie author showcase if you want to be a Patreon. $1 a month, and we give you a shout out here as a thank you for helping us out with the showcase and supporting the showcase. $5 a month, and we will get you a Indie Author Showcase official t-shirt.
Wahoo! And now, we must bid you adieu. Goodbye, my fellow wizards and travelers. Goodbye.
At least it's not Toodaloo, thank God.
Toodaloo!